Hi, this is Miss Q, and I'll teach you how to make a fabulous looking table using Google Sheets. First, you get into Drive, select New File, and Google Sheets. It will open up a spreadsheet for you, which you need to title so that you can find it in the future. We'll call this BBB Data Table. And I will show you how to use a number of these things to make your table, to stretch columns or rows, to merge some cells, put two cells together, bold, border things, align things, and make a nice data table. So the first thing we want to do is this is bubble diameter. This will be your title for detergents. We need to have a column for trials, so we'll make a column heading. And we need ivory detergent. We'll start with that. Okay. We want 5 trials, so 1, oops, 4, and 5. And now I have to put my units here, but I realize I should have left another row. So I want to come over here, right click, I want to insert one above. I could have also gone into the insert column and say put a row above or below. Now I can put in my centimeters. Please don't forget the parentheses. And I might want a column for millimeters too, although you don't have to. I'd like to center ivory over both of these columns, but if I hit the centering button here, notice it doesn't go over both columns. So to do that, I want to select both columns, and I want to go to my merge menu, and I want to merge those horizontally. Notice how it becomes one column now. I want to center all of those, so I highlight them first, come over to my menu, center, and while I have them all highlighted, I would like to bold them too. So that looks pretty good so far, but they look better with borders, so I'll re-highlight those, come to my border menu, and select all borders. That looks pretty good. And if I come down here and do the same thing, highlight everything, come up here, select all borders. It's starting to look pretty nice. You might want a little bit more room to write, so I want to highlight all of my rows. Notice I want to come in between. Notice how my cursor has two arrows and a blue line between the rows. I want to click and I'll drag down a little bit, and notice how I make my boxes bigger. I have to do this for each of my detergents, but I might also want to include an observation column, although you could do this below to make it a little bit easier to read. And I want my observation column a little bit wider, so I have to find that double arrow, select it, and drag it over. I can highlight this. I'm going to bold it. I'm going to border it. And I'm going to center it. So you should have that down pretty well. And then I'll come down here and I want to border all those. I can select these columns as well, drag across the letters, find my double arrow, and make that a little bit smaller, like that. I want to do this for every single detergent, so I could put that there like that and that. Instead of having ivory here, I'm going to have Ultra Game. And over here, I'm going to have Ultra Dry. You have to double click there. And that looks like a pretty good table, except I want to, oops, I want to highlight these two columns, get my double arrow, make that a little smaller, and then I'll highlight these two here and do the same thing. I might want to take and make that observation column a little bit bigger and this one a little bit bigger. I think sometimes it's better not to have the observations in there. but you decide how you want to do your table. Now, I want to maybe center these two. I'd like to center that, make that look nice. Again, if I want to have my title centered, I'd have to highlight all the way across. Take those cells and merge them horizontally. I want to center my title. And I also want to bold it. And that'll look pretty good. What else do I want to do? I need averages. So I want to come down here and I have to type in average. I'll show you how to put in a formula to calculate averages. So first let's get some data in here. So I might have 10, 11, 12.2, 13, 5, and then I went really did a great, oops, that's all I need. So those were my bubbles that I drew. Blue. Here we go. Select the cell you want to put your formula in. Every formula starts with an equal sign. Notice when I type there, it also shows it up here in the formula bar. The formula I want is called average, amazingly enough. And notice it shows up as a selection, so I could select average here. And then all I need to do is drag across, click and drag down across all of the cells I want to average. Then I hit enter. Notice when I click on the cell, my formula says equals average of B5 colon B9, end of parentheses. So if I come up here, I notice when I click in 10, the B is highlighted and the 5 is highlighted. That is cell B5. And it's going to average all the way down to B9. This is B9. So it takes each of these numbers, totals them up, and divides by 5 because those are the number of data inputs that we have. And my average is 10.24 centimeters. You can do this for every column, millimeters, centimeters. An easy way to do it is highlight the cell you want, right click, copy that, and come over here and you can right click and paste that in there. That formula will work once you get data in there. So let's just put some data in there. 12, 12, 14, 13.6, and 8. Notice we have our formula and everything is averaged for us. It's pretty amazing. So I'm going to come here, right click, copy it. I'm going to drag across these two cells, right click, paste it in there, and then drag across these two cells, paste it in there, and amazingly when you put your data in there, you will have a beautiful number there that represents the average of all your blown bubbles. So one last thing we could do is come in here, highlight this, and we want to border those. Here we can border these, and here we can border these. Oops, I want to make sure I get that in there. And there you have a very nice table. Hope you enjoyed this and hope you learned a lot. Try it on your own. We'll be doing this in class.